Next stage, we now need to include DHCP onto our server and add on a new scope. If you select Tools from the top menu of the dashboard and go down to DHCP, it'll open up this new window. In this section, you'll see information about the domain. If you, on the left hand side under DHCP, if you press the arrow to open up a subdirectory, right click on IPv4 and select New Scope, and it'll take you onto a new scope wizard. Select Next, and the name of this scope will be Domain Scope. You can name it as the name of your domain and then add on scope at the end, and the description is the same. Select Next. Now, in this section, the start IP for the scope of the address, the range of the addresses, is what you want to limit your address range to be for your server to assign. So in this case, it's going to be 10.0.2.100, and the end IP is going to be 10.0.2. Now, depending on how many machines you want to add, or if you want to change it later on in the future, you can do so. But for the time being, there's only going to be a couple of machines connected to our server, so I will limit the range to 115. The length at the bottom, where it says configuration settings that propagate to DHCP client, length is referring to your subnet mask. So we want it to be 255.255. So subnet, the length should now be 24. We select Next. In this stage of the wizard, it asks you for any exclusions or delays. Now, this is if you want to add on any particular addresses that you do not want to distribute if new machines are attached, or you do not want to allocate, so we can skip by this. And the lease duration, you can set as much as you want. Currently it's set at 8 days, so I'm going to leave it at 8 days. This basically means every 8 days it will check which IP addresses are still in use and whether they can be reused again and reallocated. So leave that at 8, select Next, and you can select Yes to configure these options. If we select back a few stages, in the section that says Add Exclusions and Delays, this section can also reserve addresses for things like printers, fax machines and scanners if you want to have a separate IP address statically attached to them. So this will make sure that these addresses will not be distributed when attaching new clients either. Run back through the wizard, press Next all the way through. And in this section, it says if you want to add on a router, then you can assign an IP address for that. If we were going to be adding a router, it would be the first address in our network. So it would end up being ending in 10.0.2.101. But for the time being, we're not adding on a router, so we can just select Next. Parent domain we're going to leave as the domain that we chose. Select Next. Select Next again. And yes, you want to activate the scope now. And that completes the new scope wizard. And now in this section, you'll see that it's showing the scope of 10.0.2.0. And if you look at address pool, you'll see that it begins from our IP address of the server to the the limit that we had put in, which ended in 115. Now if we close this down and restart our machine, this is optional. I do prefer to restart it to make sure the configuration settings have taken place. And you can just choose an option here. Select continue. And if you go onto our client machine, and we type in control panel, command prompt, and type in ipconfig, it will show us the new address, the current address of the IP, which is 10.0.2.101. If you wait for the server to restart, it's just applying computer settings. With the range that we set for our new scope, it won't make any effect to the IP address that we set on our client machine. What we do want to do is just see how we can alter this to set it with an IPv6 address rather than an IPv4. Go into input, keyboard, and control delete so it logs us back in. Enter your password. Now in the dashboard, we want to go back into Tools, select DHCP, and make sure our scope is still there. And there it is there. Now if we select an IPv6, currently there's no scope there. We're currently not going to do anything with that, but we are going to go back into IPv4 and readjust some options. So if we select on this and go into scope and we delete this, we're going to set up a new scope. And this time we're going to change the way our addresses will be assigned. So if we go select next, name of scope will be domain scope. Description will be the same. This next. Now the IP address, what we want to do this time is start the IP address from 10.0.2 dot, instead of 100, we want to start it from 105, and we want it to end at 10.0.2.112. The subnet mask we're going to set as 255.255.255. I'll change the length automatically to 24. Then select next. And the IP address range that you want to exclude. So I'm going to exclude the first 3 addresses, which will be 10.0.2.106 until 10.0.2.109, and then select add. So I'm going to reserve these for any future appliances that we may add, such as printer or other machines. Select next. This duration, well, I'm going to again leave that the same, 8 days. I want to configure the options now. Select next. I'm not going to be adding on a router. Domain.com will remain the same as the parent domain. Select next, and I want to activate the scope. Select finish, and again, if we double click scope and the address pool, it will now show as the following. The address range available for distribution ends in 105 to 112, and it's also excluded from that distribution addresses that end in 106 to 109 inclusive. Now if we go back to our client machine and we type in ipconfig, it's still showing currently as 101. So what we now need to do is go into control panel, select network and sharing center, select change adapter options, and right click on Ethernet, go down to properties, select TCP IPv version 4 Internet Protocol version, and then press properties. Now in this window, we want it to obtain the IP address automatically, but we're going to leave our DNS server as below. Select OK, select close. Now if we open up our command prompt, and we type in ipconfig/all, and type in ipconfig, you'll see that our IPv4 address has been assigned automatically from our server and is now changed to 10.0.2.105. That's us set up our DHCP and configured it on our server.